Deep to left center field. Scott's to the track. Scott's and a room, a two-run homer. Bobby Witt Jr. opens the game with a blast. 2-0 Royals.
Don't you know Jack Caglianone fired up that team today? No question about it.
Welcome to the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. I am one half of the team, Jacob Milham, joined by my better half, as usual, Jeremy Greco. Jeremy, welcome to the Jack Caglianone era of baseball.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've been listening to Lux's podcast, but he's been constantly interrupted by the Jack home runs. And now we're being interrupted by home runs.
Yeah, sorry, there's so many of them. I can't get them out of here.
The Royals, I forgot to put this in the rundown, but the Royals yesterday hit multiple home runs in a game for the first time since they hit 7 against the Orioles a month ago.
Oh my gosh. I forgot about that game, honestly.
Well, it doesn't make any sense in retrospect. They hit 10 home runs in 2 days, and before last night's game, that was still 30% of the Royals' home run production on the season.
That is absurd. Well, don't worry, Jack Caglianone is here in the lineup, and he is bringing the power, even if he doesn't have to put one over the fence himself. So we're recording this on Wednesday ahead of the second game in the St. Louis Cardinals series. We got to talk about Jack Caglianone's debut, some of the external things that we have seen regarding his debut, plus Lofton is looking pretty good, and Noah Cameron getting his final test at the major league level. But before we do, I got to urge y'all out there listening to us, go check out royalsreview.com. The news, the analysis, the commentary, everything you need to be the best Royals fan you could be, you can find it at royalsreview.com. Okay, Jeremy, so 10-7 win, comeback fashion, down 5. I mean, that was, I don't know if there was a time in recent memory that I can think of where the narrative around a Royals game coincided with an extremely exciting Royals game, if that makes sense. Everyone was tuned in for Jack Caglianone. He gave him the highlights, but overall, it was everyone else in the lineup who helped power the Royals to a very exciting win.
Yeah, absolutely. The Jack went 0 for 5, but he had 4 hard-hit balls. But get this, Jacob, he didn't have a single barrel.
Really?
Yeah. So
Man.
that's how hard he hits it when he doesn't barrel it.
I like it.
Yeah, and he had at least 2 hits robbed from him, the 2 hardest hit balls of the night. But it wasn't Jack that was driving the bus last night. Really, it was Bobby, who looked like MVP Bobby for the first time in a minute.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair to say it's the first time this year. He's had some good games this year. He had the 20-plus game hitting streak, for one thing.
Right, he did.
But for the first time in a minute, Bobby looked like Bobby. And like it or not, there's kind of a narrative kind of going around that goes, Bobby wanted to make sure everyone knew this was still his team. Now, I want to make sure that I'm very clear that I like that narrative, but it also does not mean Bobby doesn't want to share the spotlight with Jack.
Right.
Bobby will absolutely share the spotlight with Jack. Bobby is just also one of the best baseball players currently in the game, and so sometimes he gonna do good things. And last night,
he is.
He gonna do good things. He did good things.
He did great things in the batter's box. He did great things in the field, and overall, it kept the Royals on top in a shootout, for lack of better terms. And we'll talk about Michael Lorenzen a little bit later on in the show. I feel like we have to.
It was a game unlike any of the Royals have played this year, where they got down, they scored a couple runs, they got down big early after scoring a couple of runs. They had the first 2 guys reached, Jonathan Indy single, Bobby Witt home run, and then no one reached for 4 innings.
Wild, yeah.
Yeah. That was the last time anybody got on base until the 5th inning, when Jack led off with that ground ball that Nolan Arenado stole a single from him. And then it was like the crack of Jack's bat woke up the lineup.
That's what it seemed like. And yeah, after Jack had that amazing line out to Victor Scott, it seemed like the energy was in the lineup. Probably the most exciting line out that you're going to see from a Royals batter this year.
That was the other definite robbed catch by a defensive play by the Cardinals. Absolute web gem from Victor Scott II out in center field.
Hey, good for him. Good for him. But as long as the Cardinals didn't win, I feel like I can applaud him all I want.
Yeah.
So right now, we got Noah Cameron set to take the mound opposite of Miles Michaelis. I always get his name wrong.
Yeah.
Should be a good outing for the lefty. But before we talk about Cameron too much, I'm getting ahead of myself. Michael Lorenzen last night allowed 7 runs in 2 2/3 innings. Thankfully, the bullpen really lifted him up with 6 1/3 scoreless innings, and it was very much a group effort there. Steven Cruz, he led the group with an inning and 2/3, I believe. It was just people pitching in, and they shut out the Cardinals, who were red hot off of Lorenzen, and they didn't look like the same team. But I feel like that has to be one of the final starting chances that Michael Lorenzen gets for a little bit, as long as today's start from Noah Cameron goes well.
That's what we meant when we said this is Noah Cameron's final test.
Yeah.
We've been saying every start's a test. But tonight, if Noah Cameron looks halfway decent, if he pitches, let's say he gives you a quality start. I think that's the minimum. He gives you a quality start. You absolutely cannot demote him to the minor leagues for depth and keep Michael Lorenzen in this rotation with the way he's been pitching. Yes, last night was bad, but I'm not reacting to last night. I'm reacting to the start before that, and the start before that. And then 6 of his 12 starts, he's given up 4 or more runs. And in the other 6, he's been very good. So he's been kind of a 5th starter for this team. So yeah. I also want to be clear that Michael Lorenzen, this is no shade to him. He's done his job for the most part, but A, it's been getting worse lately, and B, they seem to have a better option, and they're a team that's looking for the playoffs now, this year. This is not a team that says, hey, Jordan Lyles, just eat some innings for us while we try and get some guys ready to come to the big leagues. This is a team that says, hey, Michael Lorenzen, you've been good, but not good enough. You're going to have to be in the bullpen.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of the, we spoke in a previous episode about liking that the Royals have been more transactional, right? But you can be transactional on your 26-man roster, if that makes sense.
Have been. That's something else I want to talk about today, too.
Yes, we absolutely do have to touch on that later on. But in my mind, you can be transactional in moving Michael Lorenzen just based off of his performance. It coincides with Noah Cameron being absolutely shut down. He's allowed 1 earned run or fewer in his first 4 career starts. An absolutely absurd run from the kid from St. Joe. And you want to reward players for doing things like that, right? It's you have to have that payoff. And if guys really believe that if I do my best, I can get to the show and I can prove myself. If they believe that, then I think that's going to fire up your guys down in AAA even more.
Yeah. And you have to be in a position where, you know, the Royals don't want to just take Michael Lorenzen out of the rotation just to take him out of the rotation. You know, they want to. They've always been, ever since Dayton Moore. It was one of the things I liked about Dayton Moore is they treat their players well. And when they signed Michael Lorenzen, they said, "Hey, you're going to be a starter at the beginning of the year." But they also had to have told him, "You may not be a starter at the end of the year, depending on how things go. So you're going to get a chance to start, but be ready for the bullpen." And he knows the deal. He's been around. That's been his whole career. Is, hey, you're good enough to be a swingman on a major league roster. That's pretty good.
It is.
And he's done the swinging. He's been swinging for the starter. It's time for him to swing for the bullpen.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. And I know some folks out there might not be familiar with this because you can't just do this with any old starter. You can't just toss like Michael Wacha into the bullpen and he'll be the same effectiveness, right? But the fact is Michael Lorenzen, for most of his career, has been in the bullpen. He has 380 career games and only 105 of them have been starts. Like he's primarily been a few innings guy, and this team could really use a true bulk reliever.
And the other thing about Lorenzen versus the other guys is, first of all, he's already the weak link. I wrote about this a couple weeks ago. He's already kind of the weak link in the rotation in that he is somehow a Diet Lugo and a Diet Waka. He's a Diet Waka in that his changeup is his best pitch, and that's what he leads with. He's a Diet Lugo in that he then also throws a bunch of other pitches. But he's not as good as either of them.
No.
And so to not be as good as either of them, but also be very similar to them, that's going to be really rough on him. Now, if he can move to the bullpen, and he's a prime candidate for moving to the bullpen in that he can cut out some of those pitches that aren't as effective for him and focus down on just 2 or 3 pitches and get through an inning, 2-3 innings like that. Whereas right now, he leads with his changeup. He has a good changeup, but it's not good enough to carry him through a whole start in a way that kind of Michael Wacha's is. So he's got to bring other pitches into it if he wants to go deep into a game. Well, you don't got to go deep into a game. You don't got to bring all those other pitches into it as much.
And something that I didn't realize until I pulled up his number, his 9 wild pitches so far this year lead all of MLB.
Oh, I didn't know that either. That's pretty crazy. That control has definitely been an issue for him, so that makes sense.
It has. And you know what? I don't know if it coincides with him going deeper into starts. I don't know any of that. But if you move him to the bullpen, you kind of lower that window for mistakes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, instead of him having to go out on the mound and say, I need to go 6 innings of 3-run ball, he can go out there, well, I need to go out there for 2 innings of no-run ball.
And that's been the thing that's been helping Daniel Lynch for sure.
Yeah.
Because Daniel Lynch, you look at his sparkling ERA. We looked at his sparkling ERA. We said he should get some leverage innings. Well, turns out he kind of needs to get bailed out fairly often. He had to get bailed out last night. They talk about, the bullpen gave us 6 1/3 scoreless innings. Well, part of that is because, no, actually, I guess he didn't get bailed out. He did finish that inning.
I believe so, yeah.
But he kind of was squeaking by, and he's had to get bailed out a couple of times this year where he walked a couple guys, and they said, all right, Daniel, you tried. You got 1 out. Cool. We'll get someone else in here now.
Yeah, and
he doesn't. Well, the thing about Daniel Lynch in the bullpen, because I also want to be clear, is that I'm not saying Daniel Lynch shouldn't be in the bullpen. He should be demoted. He should be fired. He should be shot. What I'm saying is Daniel Lynch sometimes is effective, sometimes is not effective. That's fine for a middle reliever. When you go, okay, Daniel Lynch, you're going to come in, you're going to pitch to 3-4 guys, and we're going to have somebody backing you up the whole way through. And if you're good, great. Thank you for your service. We'll see you next time. If you're not good, okay, you didn't have it. We're ready to bring someone else in.
I do feel like Daniel Lynch has Mac Ochero has a pretty quick hook on Daniel Lynch.
He does.
I feel like he does.
Ian Zerpa, who are the 2 weakest relievers in the bullpen currently. Maybe Andrew Hoffman. He's not going to be in the bullpen after tonight anyway, I suspect.
Yeah, right.
So, and Q, everyone, his bullpen management sucks. No, it doesn't. Those 2 guys, they come in, you say, all right, get me some lefties, please. You didn't get the left. All right, you're out. Thank you. You tried. Yep. He's got to use them. If you don't have them, you don't have any lefties in your bullpen. Well, you have Sisk you could call up, but still. And they've been useful in certain circumstances. Angel Serpa has 10 straight scoreless appearances. Please excuse the barking dog. 10 straight scoreless appearances, but also he's only struck out 2.
Yeah.
So can he sustain that? I don't know. But also he's getting you the outs for now.
Yeah.
So keep using him.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a little bit of the, look at the context of it. His ERA at times will show that, or say that he's a shutdown guy who deserves a bigger workload. Well, I think oddly enough, David Lesky, we talk about him a lot on this podcast. I think he was tweeting out last night something about Daniel Lynch feeling like a powder keg ready to blow.
For sure.
Because he leaves an absurd amount of runners on base.
And he walks a lot of guys.
He does, which is kind of surprising. Like, I wasn't expecting that from him.
He does not have the stuff to walk that many guys.
I think that's a good way to look at it. And hey, speaking of the bullpen, Carlos Estévez getting his 17th save of the season, the second most in Major League Baseball. He needs 1 more to get that 100 saves. Last night was his 99th, so that'll be something to keep an eye out for. And honestly, whenever Carlos Estévez goes out on the mound, good things happen for the Royals. They're 21-4 in his last 25 outings. That's absolutely great.
You'll remember I was calling him Heart Attack Avez earlier this year.
Yeah.
Because he was getting the job done, but he was making me nervous every time. Not nervous anymore.
Yeah,
He's been
and that.
nails for 2 or 3 weeks now,
Mm-hmm.
and last
Yeah.
night, no exception.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And I don't like when you watch. Oh, the radar gun doesn't say he's got like this great
He
velocity or
hit
this great
98
stuff.
last night.
Yeah,
What
well,
radar gun are you looking at?
I no like
Fictional
early
person.
early on this year
Oh,
is what
yeah,
I meant
yeah.
to
The
say.
velocity was down early.
Yeah, but now he looks like the elite
Yeah.
closer that the Royals signed for. Royals are now 28-0 after leading in the 8th inning. So that's a pretty good success rate.
That's what happens when you have a good bullpen. Is
Yeah.
you close that. I mean, that was the 2015 Royals thing. It was after the 6th inning for them.
Oh
Tied
yeah.
or ahead after the 6th inning, the 2015 Royals were gonna win. So right now we're missing Harvey. Don't know if we'll ever see him again. We're missing Urseg. Hopefully he's back soon. Fingers crossed. He's got back issues also, which is like, that's not what I want to hear from my 30-year-old reliever. Hopefully they'll both be back. And then, we'll say, hey, Steven Cruz, John Schreiber, currently pitching the 7th, 8th innings, guys. Well, now you guys are kind of 5th, 6th inning guys. Like, you want
Yeah.
a bullpen game? Let's do a bullpen game.
It'll probably go pretty well for Kansas City. So, all right, let's go ahead and I want to talk about Jack Caglianone's first outing in a Royals uniform real
right.
quick. But first, let's go ahead and hear from his skipper, Mac Quachero.
He did everything he could possibly do and everything we could have hoped for in the minor leagues. And I mean, a credit to him, to his family, to his upbringing, to how humble he's been about the whole thing. But I mean, he's an extremely talented baseball player that we think can help us win games in the big leagues right now. So aside from that, of course, he will never forget this day. And for the fans of the Royals, I mean, it is a special day, to have someone of his pedigree make it this quickly and be out here in a season where we're squarely in the middle of a playoff race. It's really nice. He did everything.
Sorry, some more technical issues there. But yeah, so Q had nothing but glowing things to say about him. And I don't know if, I think I might have said this earlier on, but I think that if you would have told me Jack Caglianone went 0 for 5 in his major league debut, I would be a little concerned. But like you said, Jeremy, he put the ball in play every single time. He had two batted balls that probably would have been hits if not to the guys that he hit it to. And he just hits the
Nolan
crap out of
Arenado
the
and
ball.
Victor Scott could very easily win Gold Gloves this year at the National League.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is not an exaggeration. These guys are good.
Yes. Very, very good. So what are you thinking about Jack after his first outing?
So I'm thinking one of the numbers you could look at is that 66.7% chase rate. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. That's 3 pitches out of the strike zone. He swung at 2 of them. One of them was close. The other one was a hanging breaker well above the strike zone. I'm not going to criticize a guy it was the very first pitch he saw.
Oh, okay.
In Major League Baseball was a hanging breaker. It was a few inches above the strike zone, but he's also a big guy, and he swung at it. And it's his very first pitch he sees as a major leaguer. I can't knock that. I think if you see a hanging breaker, you should probably swing at it wherever it is. The other thing I want to throw out there is his whiff rate yesterday, 0%.
Really?
Did not swing and miss once. Now it's one game. That's the epitome of a small sample size, but that's a good start. Not swinging and missing once. Again, top 2 exit velocities last night. Again, 2 robbed hits. His average exit velocity last night was 97 or something like that. So pretty good stuff. He did hit 4 ground balls and 1 fly ball, and you'd like to see him get into the air more. His history says he will. It's one game. You can't you just can't judge it. But what I appreciated last night was you said, the Royals scored a bunch of runs and it didn't even take Jack, but at one point when when Lorenzen was just completely imploding in the 3rd inning, I posted on Blue Sky, I said, how many home runs can Jack hit? Because this is getting pretty bad. And then Jack didn't need to hit any home runs.
Nope.
He just needed a really hard hit ground ball. And that got everyone going.
Exactly. And yeah, I don't know. We need to see more from Jack Caglianone before we could say, hey, it's a success. They called him up when he was ready. They called him up too soon. Before we can make any conclusions, we need a little bit more work from him. And I am very excited for Wednesday night's game because we're going to see him out in right field today.
Today's Wednesday? Oh, they already put out the lineups. Okay. I haven't seen those. Yep,
so
there he is.
right in the middle of the order, batting behind Perez and Pasquantino again. A good spot for him.
And that's the other thing we didn't talk about is
Oh yeah.
no one's talking about is that Michael Garcia got promoted in the lineup to batting third last night, and he's there again tonight.
I love it. I really do.
I do too. I kind of wanted him to move to fourth, but I guess if you're like, well, listen, we need Michael batting higher because he's fast and he's hitting well. So we're going to bat him third because we need Vinny to move down so he doesn't block the base paths for Michael. Okay, then it's an easier pitch to Sal of like, Sal, this isn't about you not getting hits. This is about Michael is getting hits.
Well, Pasquantino and Perez, they both had RBIs last night. They produced when it mattered the most. The Royals, I think they've been 23rd this year. Their batting average is 23rd with runners in scoring position. And last night they capitalized on those situations very effectively. And I don't know what's going through their head, but I think that, Perez's mindset had to have changed a little bit, right? Batting farther down.
I feel confident that they were pitching him differently.
Okay.
Because up till now, he's been batting in front of Michael Garcia. Michael Garcia has been very good this year. Very happy with his performance. This might have been Lesky said this on a podcast or maybe in his writing somewhere. Someone said, and I heard it, and I'm like, I wish that I had said this first. Michael Garcia has been very good. He doesn't scare you.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the power to, he might get on base. He might steal a base, but you're not like, I don't want to pitch to Michael. Ooh, he's going to hit a home run. And he's going to kick our butts. He's going to take over this whole game. That's not who Michael is. Very good. I'm excited to have him in the lineup. I'm excited for him to bat third. So please do not take this as a criticism of Michael. I'm so excited. I'm so glad he's been so good this year. I'm so glad he's broken out and that he's continued to hit. He's been hitting all year. He was the Royals Offensive Player of the Month in May, and he deserved it. And it's great. But Caglianone, he scares people. We saw even in his major league debut when he didn't have a hit yet, we saw the Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol go to his bullpen to get a lefty to face Caglianone.
Yeah,
with righties behind him. He had a righty, a switch hitter, and then Isbell behind him. So it wasn't like, well, there's a bunch of lefties coming up. It was, I need a guy to get Jack Caglianone out. So if you're making managerial decisions around the guy already, well, you're probably pitching to the people in front of him differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to throw my breakers low and outside because Salvador Perez will swing a miss at him. But if he doesn't, he might be on base when Jack Caglianone comes up. So maybe I better throw it a little bit closer to the strike zone to make sure. Nope. Oh, I hung it. No. So I think that's a lot of why Jack is actually providing protection for Salvi in the lineup. We talked about maybe Salvi could provide protection for Jack, but it's kind of working the other way around right now.
That's interesting. It's still productive.
And they can, if Jack doesn't get some hits soon, they can flip him.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good way to look at it. Speaking of the other guy that got pushed down the lineup, Vinny Pasquantino, he had 2 hits last night. He currently has a 21-game on-base streak, the 3rd longest active streak.
He's gotten his awful OPS all the way up to 711 now, which is in the you're doing okay territory. It's not good enough. It's not where Vinny wants to be, but his OPS in May is much better.
Exactly.
Because of how bad it was in April.
Yep. And he, excuse me, did I say? Yeah, I'm sorry. I said the wrong number. It's 19 games, not 21 games.
Oh, I thought it was over 22. Sorry.
Yep, that's my bad. But all in all, Vinny has really turned a corner after just a forgettable April, I would say. Like, you had folks talking for Jack Caglianone to supplant him, not Caglianone come alongside Vinny and produce. And I think that he's put a lot of that behind him, and I hope that he stays healthy during the summer and we see a full season for the very first time from Vinny Pasquantino this year.
That would be nice.
I think that would be a big win all
How about Vinny coming home on Salvi's single and making a beeline for Jack to whisper in his ear?
Yeah, I thought that was so cool.
I don't know if it was encouragement. I don't know if it was, here's what Steven Matz is doing, keep an eye out for this. I don't know if it was, hey, Rook, you got an out to start this inning. You don't want to get the 3rd out, or you're going to get fined in the kangaroo court tomorrow morning.
Yeah, he might have gotten an earful for that, the 1st and the 3rd out in the same inning.
Yeah, you never want that. But of course, he hit that first one hard.
He really did. And that's why everyone, it's not just us that are excited
No.
for this. Like, it's
National
kind
media is all over this.
Yeah.
MLB The Show, they have the Pipeline series, and Jack Caglianone was one of the members of the Pipeline series this year because he's a top 100 Pipeline guy. And they gave him the Super Boost for the promotion. They don't give everybody the Super Boost when they get promoted, but Jack Caglianone got it. So pretty exciting stuff.
Okay.
All over the country, not just in Royals land. Everybody wants to see this kid right now.
Yeah. Hey, before we get to talking about Nick Lofton and a couple of other players, I do want to remind fans out there that the All-Star ballot that's opened up.
I was gonna bring this up later. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, you can vote 5 times in a day. If I recall correctly, if you use, like, they have some promo going on with Pro Spirit, which is their game, their mobile game. You can get a 6th vote that way. All in all, just go vote for your Royals. Royals fans should be very well acquainted.
Yeah, there should be a number of All-Stars this year. Off the top of your head, don't think about it. How many do you think? Say it now.
4.
4? That seems reasonable.
Yeah. What do you think?
In 2015, they had 7, I think, which was an insane number. I think that they have probably 7 guys who you could justify going, but probably 4-ish. Well, let's see. Chris Bubich, I think, deserves to go. Michael Wacha probably deserves to go. Carlos Estévez probably deserves to go. Bobby Witt Jr. probably deserves to go. Maikel Garcia probably deserves to go. Lucas Erceg would be a borderline case, but he's hurt, so maybe not. So maybe it's just 5. Salvador Perez, he'll get votes for name recognition. I'm not sure he deserves to go.
Probably not. And I think that's...
So there's 5. 2 starters, a reliever, and then 2 position players. And Bobby Witt Jr., who's starting at shortstop over him this year? Last year it was Gunnar Henderson because the Orioles were just destroying things. Gunnar Henderson looked very good, and that ain't happening this year. Bobby Witt Jr., probably the starter.
Yeah, probably so. And I don't think that Maikel would be the starter. I think he's going to get a lot of votes for third base.
Rafael, I guess Devers they might put in as the designated hitter.
Yeah, he might be.
But Alex Bregman could very easily be the starter at third base. Just off the top of my head, there may be some other guys to think about there, too.
I was about to say Jose Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez, absolutely. I always forget he's a third baseman and how good he is until I look at his numbers, and then I'm just like, what is going on in Cleveland?
And we wonder why the Guardians keep winning. When you have a guy like that on your team.
Yeah, so Maikel, I think Maikel will get there. I don't think he'll start. I'm not sure if Wacha will get there. Bubich has to. Bubich has to be an all-star.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think Estévez has to be.
There's nothing that points to he shouldn't be.
A lot of saves, low ERA.
Yeah, I think that the favorite right now has to be Andres Munoz with the Seattle Mariners.
For multiple relievers, so.
Yeah, for sure. And I just don't know if Carlos Estévez with the Kansas City Royals brand is going to get the same recognition that other relievers are going to get.
But I will guarantee 3.
I like
Bubich, Witt, Garcia. I'll guarantee those 3.
Well, go make Jeremy's guarantee a reality. Make sure you go vote. You can visit Royals.com to access the ballot and just find out more information on the All-Star ballot.
And while we're saying who deserves to go and blah, 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 if the Royals get on a hot streak here, I'm old enough to remember the 2015 All-Star game, which saw Omar Infante leading the voting for a significant period of time.
Yes.
A man that Royals fans hated, but still voted for the All-Star game because he was a Royal.
Jonathan India, baby. All-Star 2025.
Michael Massey. 2025 All-Star. Let's go.
Hold on. We have to have some limitations to reality here.
Somehow Michael Massey has been voted the All-Star starter at second base despite being demoted to Omaha.
How does that happen? Hunter Renfroe, you are an All-Star.
I don't think he'll be on the ballot.
No, I highly doubt it. Anywho's, so I know I said that we wanted to talk about Nick Lofton, but there is another outfielder that I feel like we need to talk about first. Not on the Royals roster, though. I think we got to talk about MJ Melendez.
We have to.
So my thought is, if we are quick to criticize, we need to be a little quick on not his comeback, but when he's performing well in Omaha. He's hit safely in 13 of his last 15. He's got 6 home runs, 9 stolen bases. in that same span. 6 home runs in 15 games. It's hard to ignore, Jeremy. Is MJ Melendez
I'm
back?
willing to ignore it. I'm willing to make that effort.
Are you just an MJ Melendez hater at this
I
point?
mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But I was watching some Omaha games, Jacob, for some reason. Can't imagine what that reason was. And I saw MJ Melendez. He's back to his old swing, Jacob.
He is.
And he had hot streaks with that swing. And this is a hot streak. It's not going to stay. By the time the Royals can call him up, think about calling him up. And by the way, where's the room for MJ Melendez right now?
No room. No room. I'm not saying promote him. I'm saying he's doing good.
By the time they might think about calling him up, the hot streak will be over. So I'm fully over MJ Melendez. I never believed in MJ Melendez. I can't say I never believed in him. After his rookie year, I thought he might still be something. I was willing to overlook the awful swing because he took a lot of walks and he hit for some power. And I was like, well, some guys just have awful swings and it works. And then it didn't work. And then it didn't work. And then it didn't work. And he would show flashes of, is it going to work? Nope. Okay, never mind. He's done again.
Well, we'll see what happens. Let's see what he's doing in July up there in Omaha. Maybe after the All-Star break, we can start talking about that. But the guy that a lot of Royals fans were calling for, and the Royals, I don't know if they heard it, but they couldn't ignore him anymore in Omaha. Nick Lofton is on this 26-man roster. He had his second career major league home run last night against the Cardinals. His first since last June at Oakland. I mean, I think Nick Lofton's been everything and more in his small sample size.
I got to say about this home run, that first home run was barely over the fence, if I remember correctly. This one was out in 30 out of 30. It was a no doubter. Yeah, so I might have to eat my words a little bit on Nick Lofton because everyone was saying, call him up. And I was saying he doesn't hit the ball hard enough. It's not worth it. But he is putting together some really good at-bats. He looks very good defensively everywhere he's played since he's been called up. Yeah, all right. Nick Lofton, utility infielder, utility player, super utility player.
Super utility again.
Yeah. Do I want him starting every day? Probably not. But I'm willing to give you that he's a very high-quality major league utility player right now.
There you go. And I think that's fine. Not every player has to be an all-star.
No. Do I want him starting over Michael Massey? 100%. Unfortunately, I saw Michael Massey is the quote-unquote designated hitter tonight.
That makes
I don't know if
sense
the Royals think that if you put designated in front of them, that makes them hit. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
No, it doesn't.
Kevin Biggio's been the designated hitter so many times. Hunter Renfroe. Like, why are you guys determined to bring back the dead ball era and put pitcher quality hitters in the designated hitter spot?
I don't know why. It makes no sense. I will say that Kevin O'Brien, friend of the podcast, did have some speculation on social media today that, Cam Devaney's been getting a lot of work at second base there in Omaha, and Devaney's metrics have been just amazing at AAA. He might be getting ready for that call.
So I posted on social media a couple of days ago that since I successfully wishcasted Jack Caglianone onto the roster.
Yeah.
I said the next one I'm going to wishcast is for Devaney. But the more I've been thinking about it, the more I don't want the Royals to call Devaney up. Because the Royals have a pretty thick roster right now. So I'm going to dive a little bit into, I guess, this other topic that I keep wanting to bring up of the overhaul of the roster that the Royals have done so far this year. Last night's win, which again was the first of its kind for the Royals this year, they used 55% of the same lineup that they used on opening day.
That's a lot of turnover.
Jack Caglianone not on the roster on opening day. Drew Waters not on the roster on opening day. Nick Lofton not on the roster on opening day. Maikel Garcia, last night's 3-hole hitter, did not start on opening day because the Royals believed more in MJ Melendez than in Maikel Garcia.
I forgot about that.
So the lineup is drastically different from how it was on opening day. Melendez is gone. Biggio's gone. Renfroe's gone. Massey wasn't in the lineup last night. He is tonight. He should probably... listen, I get so mad because there's so many people who just hate Michael Massey now. And I feel like that's an overreaction, but also he should be in Omaha. But the person I would call up instead of Devaney is Kevin Biggio, because I don't care if Kevin Biggio gets at bats. And there's There's not a lot of at-bats to go around right now.
It really isn't.
One of the things that having Dairon Blanco on the roster made sense was that with 26 guys on the roster, with 4 guys on your bench, you don't have room to hit everybody. And so he didn't hit, and that was fine. If they call up Cam Devaney, I want him to play, but I also want Jack Caglianone to play. And I would like Nick Lofton to play. And I would like Drew Waters to play. And I would like John Rave to play. And there's not room for all of them to play.
No, there really isn't. And I think that logjam is more so in the outfield than in the infield right now.
To a degree, but, you know, the thing about the infield is Maikel Garcia is your starting third baseman. Bobby Witt Jr. is your starting shortstop. Jonathan India is, and he's looked a lot better there, is your starting second baseman. He's looked like, oh, maybe he wasn't taking ground balls at second base for the entire year until a couple of weeks ago. Vinny Pasquantino is your starting first baseman. So, yeah, there's not a lot of guys on the infield, but there also aren't any holes on the infield.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a good way to look at it. You know, I'm just a Mark Canha stan, okay? And I miss Mark. Mark, I miss you.
He can't even find at bats right now.
I know.
How are you going to get Cam Devaney at bats?
Mark had 4 plate appearances. 4 in the last homestand.
And John Rave didn't start last night. He's not starting tonight. He's not starting tomorrow against a lefty. He's already having to miss this whole series.
True.
And you're going to call up Cam Devaney into this and say, hey, Cam, find some playing room if you can.
That's valid. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Jeremy. And honestly, if you guys disagree with either one of us, please let us know in the comments. This is definitely a situation where there's not one solid way forward, I would say.
Except
I think
for the
you
one
can make...
that I just gave you.
Well, yes, Jeremy.
And the other thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about the roster overhaul is the relievers that were used last night.
What about it?
Daniel Lynch came in and did his things. Then Steven Cruz came in and was lights out for an inning and 2/3. Then Angel Serpa. And then Taylor Clark came in. John Schreiber, who was a middle reliever earlier this year, came in and pitched against the middle of the... He kind of took over the fireman role from Lucas Ursek.
Yeah,
he came in like, yeah, he's your second best reliever, or the one you count on the second most. You think he should pitch in the 8th inning. Well, no, he's going to pitch in the 7th inning because that's where the heart of the lineup was.
I do think that all the listeners out there who haven't found love, you need to find someone that you love as much as I love John Schreiber's sweeper. Okay, that's just how it is.
It's a pretty pitch. He was a disaster for a chunk of last year. He was very good before that, and he's pretty good after that. Yep. And he has been a revelation this year. Has he had a couple bad outings to get his ERA up to 3? Yes. He's not perfect. He's not Wade Davis. But I trust him as almost as much as I trust Urseg right now, and probably as much as I trust Estévez and Cruz. He has been that good this year. And even as a sidearm submarine right-hander, he can get the lefties out because that sinker is also very nasty.
Yeah, that he can.
He loves that front door sinker against the lefties. They're like, oh, crap, that's a strike. It was I thought it was going to hit me, but now it was okay. I guess I'll go back to the dugout now.
So, hey, Jeremy, before we get on to our reviews, I do want to talk about a few injury things and how it might affect the White Sox series. So, number one, we're expecting Cole Reagans to come off the IL tomorrow as we record this. His rehab start in Northwest Arkansas didn't go well. If you look at the box score, it's fine.
Ignore the box score on a rehab start.
Exactly. The website says he's scheduled to come off the IL for his June 5th start. The game notes say he is making the June 5th start, so he is coming off of the injured list. Hi, doggy. Then we have, surprisingly, Kyle Wright, he's kind of expected back in early June.
And that's the other thing about why you can more afford for Noah Cameron to take that rotation spot is what I talked about last time was, well, if he does that you don't have a 6th starter stretched out and ready to go. Well, with Kyle Wright getting healthy, if he does successfully get healthy, but he appears like he's on his way, you do.
Yeah. Also, Lucas Urseg is progressing very well. He threw a bullpen on June 3rd. He's scheduled for a live bullpen on June 6th and could go on a rehab assignment after that. The big bad news, though, Hunter Harvey, his expected return is listed as end of June, has continued
That's
to
not
deal.
bad news to me. That's like, okay, maybe
Well,
he will come back.
It's just that it keeps getting pushed. It keeps
Well,
getting
yeah,
kicked down
that's
the
fair.
road. That's what I mean by bad news. He is hopeful to begin a normal throwing progression during this week. So
We'll know more this week, hopefully.
yeah, hopefully so. But that is all on the injury front. Before we get to our reviews, I do want us to react to a quote. I want to see what you think about it.
All right.
So, Royals insider Josh Vernier, 96.5 The Fan. If you don't listen to the post-game show, at least it's fun to hear what other Royals fans say. I highly suggest it. He said on the radio today, quote, "It seems as if we're embarking on the third golden age of Royals baseball," end quote. Do you think that is an overreaction, or is that the case?
That's an overreaction at all. Cole Reagans is under contract for a while. Chris Bubich should be easily signable to an extension. The Royals just need to bite the bullet and do that. Vinny Pasquantino, if he can stay healthy, looks very good. Bobby Witt Jr. obviously already has the extension. Jack Caglianone just came up. He looks like the real deal. They've got a lot of really good pieces to build around, and they've got an owner who's shown a willingness to spend to fill in around them. And now I have and will continue to argue he should spend more on occasion, but he is not Bob Nutting over in Pittsburgh. He's not the guy out in Sacramento. He's somebody who will spend some money on this roster. So that's what we like to see, is somebody making an effort. And when the scouting has been as good as it's been, when the pitching coaching has been as good as it's been, then all right, cool, we're getting somewhere.
Exactly. And I think that
and the second golden age, hopefully this
organization from the word
the
go,
last golden age.
when Piccolo took over, when he got more of a higher ranking role in the organization, they verbally prioritize being a long-term competitive squad rather than being a short-term winner and then fade off again, like the 2014 and 2015 squads were.
Yeah, I was. You're gonna have to cut some of that out because we were talking over each other because I was temporarily disconnected. But I was also just saying, hopefully, this third golden age is longer than the second golden age.
Right, and I think that when you compare the length of those two, like the first golden age was a decade, plus.
It was the mid 70s to the mid 80s for sure.
Yeah, and the last one was
3-4 years.
I don't even know if you'd call it 3.
2013 to 2016, I would say, maybe.
Yeah. But hopefully this age lasts a lot longer, and I think Jack Caglianone is another good player to join this golden age. Frankly, I think that this team is like one or two trades away from making that really feel like a reality.
If Jack Caglianone is the real deal, they have the pitching. They
do.
They don't need to trade for a single dang pitcher. They just need to keep the ones they have mostly healthy. And if Jack Caglianone's the real deal, they only need one more bat, I think. Yeah. I think between everybody else, you can cobble together the bottom third of your lineup.
I agree. And we're here talking about who's going to bat where and when. I mean, when you look at what the Royals have to upgrade, it's pretty select, I would say.
I would like to take some playing time away from Raven Lofton and get like one more. And the thing is, look at the designated hitter spot, as I've been saying all year. Look at the designated hitter spot. You can get anybody from any position. You need a hitter, and then you can put them at designated hitter. And I know the Royals don't like to have a designated hitter who's the designated hitter, but sometimes you got to bite the bullet and just do the thing. Yeah, and that the Royals, like, if you want to go get a corner outfielder and say Jack is designated hitter, corner outfielder, you are corner outfielder, designated outfielder, and then we have one more outfielder. Drew Waters probably gets most of that playing time as long as he keeps going as well as he has. Then cool, you're good. Yeah. And John Rave can be a defensive substitution and pinch runner. Nick Lofton can be your super utility guy. Freddie Fermin's your backup catcher. That's a roster. That's a roster. If you get a real good hitter, like a Taylor Ward-esque hitter to go with this lineup and this pitching, that's a roster that I would think could make it all the way to the World Series for sure.
Wow, amazing. Well, hey, if y'all want to follow along with the progression of this Royals team trying to get back to that World Series that Jeremy's talking about, make sure you go check out royalsreview.com because the trade deadline, it's less than 2 months away. We're already seeing some of the chatter, some of the chips falling in regards to that. So if you want to keep tabs on all things Royals in that regard, you can do so at royalsreview.com. Also, one other thing I want to plug before we get to reviews, Jeremy, I completely forgot that there is going to be another great MLB debut card chase because Jack Caglianone, he debuted last night and he's had the little patch. And the next time you see it, it's gonna be someone pulling it out of a Topps box. So if you haven't bought a box of baseball cards in a while and you're feeling lucky, well, I would suggest you go buy one and see if you can pull the 1-of-1 Jack Caglianone MLB debut.
I've never felt lucky a day in my life.
Well, I'm lucky every time I get to record with you, Jeremy.
Jacob.
Oh, shucks.
You're full of it.
Alrighty, friend. Why don't you get us started with our reviews tonight?
All right, so I just last night finished this anime called, all right, this is a long one, get ready.
Oh boy.
I may be a guild receptionist, but I will solo any boss to avoid overtime.
What in the world?
It's about this young woman who is a guild receptionist who somehow got an ability that lets her single-handedly kill raid bosses, and she hates working overtime, which is an aspect, a characteristic that I truly identify with. She hates working overtime, and so apparently at the guild hall that she works at, the guild receptionists have to work overtime when the adventurers can't kill the raid bosses, because they just keep coming to claim the quest again, and then they have to work. I don't really understand why that makes them work overtime, but it does. And so then she gets fed up with it, and she goes and solos the boss to make the overtime go away. And it's dumb. It's so dumb, Jacob. It's a dumb show, but it's also cute. And It's got some sweet moments in it, and I enjoyed it.
Were you entertained?
I was entertained.
There you go.
Would I put it up for any awards? Absolutely not. Did it sometimes annoy me because the main character likes to scream all of her internal monologues? Yes. But I also enjoyed it quite a bit anyway.
There you go. I like it. Let's see, what is my... So, I got another downer for a review, I would say.
Why, Jacob?
Well, because, number one, baseball takes up a lot of time. It really does. And so I don't, when I'm not talking or watching baseball, I'm reading usually. I haven't finished up the next book yet, but I did take a chance on Call of Duty Black Ops 6. They were having like a free trial weekend. I didn't like it. I really didn't. I know it came out and it's like less than a year old. It felt a little clunky. The progression system was off. And now it's like they don't even have it was weird. They don't even have like a set game file for it, Jeremy. It's like you download the Call of Duty app and then you download individual games within it. Yeah, it felt really strange.
Gross.
And yeah, that's, Call of Duty over the years, it's just gotten more and more integrated with, you have to buy the next game to get this thing that you earned in this game. It's just one of those bad byproducts of the microtransaction trend that we've seen in video games. But yeah, I played it for probably about like 6 hours in total, I think it said. So I feel like I gave it a decent chance. It wasn't terribly fun. They didn't get my business afterwards. If you feel differently about it, please feel free to let me know, but I just did not enjoy my time.
I'm from the era, Jacob, when I play, this was never an era, this was my era. When I played Call of Duty for the story, I played Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3 because I loved the story, and then I played 3 and I was like, this story sucks. And then I bought the next Call of Duty, I don't remember which one it was, Ghosts maybe, and I was like, this story also sucks, and I don't like the multiplayer. I played the Modern, so back in the day, I didn't have a job, didn't have any money, I had Modern Warfare 2 and Mass Effect. And I played Mass Effect through so many times. And I was like, I got to do something else. So I played Modern Warfare 2. And I played the multiplayer in Modern Warfare 2. And I sucked at it. And I didn't super love it. But also, I accidentally headshot 2 people at the same time with my sniper rifle. And then I said, listen, I'm never going to be able to accomplish that again. I'm never going to be able to top that feat. I'm done. And I was pretty much done with multiplayer Call of Duty after that.
Wow, that is impressive. Yeah, I grew up on Medal of Honor. I don't know if you've heard of that franchise at
Yeah.
all, but like that was another one that was all single player.
Shooters just aren't for me. And also I tried to replay Modern Warfare recently and I was like, man, my politics have changed too much for me to enjoy this.
Oh, it's all about perspective, huh?
Yeah.
Alrighty, folks. Well, that is going to do it for today's episode of the Royals Rundown podcast. If you're not following or subscribing or whatever the heck it is on your respective platform, make sure you do that. It really helps out the podcast. If you're not listening to us on Spotify, we appreciate that. Make sure you respond to the poll or leave a comment. The comment sections have been really active lately, and I certainly appreciate that. Love hearing from the listeners out there. You can find our social media links in the podcast description below. But I am Jacob Milham. They're Jeremy Greco. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, go Royals.
Jack Wagon!